Joining us now on the program is one of over 300 charities and nonprofits supported on the Share Detroit platform. Adriel Thornton is the Executive Director of MoGo Detroit and joins us now on the Megacast. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you having me.
Yeah, glad to have you on. First off, for those that may not be familiar with MoGo Detroit, tell us about the history of your organization and some of the different programs or resources it provides in our local area.
Right. So MoGo was created in the Office of Economic Development at Wayne State by Lisa Nazowski, the founder, and they started off with a study to see if something like bike share would be possible here in Metro Detroit. And so when the results of that study came back, they left the Office of Economic Development at Wayne State and moved to become an affiliate at Downtown Detroit Partnership. And eventually we launched in May of 2017. So we launched in Greater Downtown originally with 43 stations and 430 bikes. And then in 2020, we had our expansion into what we call MoGo North, which is Northwest Detroit and Southern Oakland County. So we almost doubled the size of our system and really have been having a great time serving now Metro Detroit.
So how does MoGo work in terms of getting people access to these bikes? Obviously, anybody, as you said, anybody can use a MoGo bike in Detroit or in Southern Oakland County or other locations that they're available, but how does that system work?
Right. So, we're what you call a dock-based system, a docked system, meaning that you have to go to a station to get a bike and then return that bike to the station. We're not undocked like some of the other micromobility options here in the city. But so you just need to find a MoGo station. And the easiest things, a lot of our stations have kiosks. So you can actually go through the process at the kiosk. But I think the much easier process would be to download the Transit app. And it's literally that. It's Transit. It's the name of the app. Or just go to mogodetroit.org on your smartphone. And you'll be able to start riding in. So basically, there are multiple passes that one could get. So if you just want to take MoGo just for a recreational ride, or maybe just, you have a meeting and instead of moving your car, you want to jump on a bike and get there. There are short-term passes that we have that are available that you'll see in the Transit app. And then if you are a more consistent MoGo rider and want to experience MoGo for a longer term from a month up to a year, we actually have what we call memberships. And one of the best things about those memberships, at least our membership package, is that there's one that's especially designed for folks who receive state benefits. So our annual pass is normally right around $90, which is really affordable. But if you receive state benefits like a bridge card or you're part of the Michigan Healthy Plan, you can get that same annual pass for $5.
And so, Adriel, in terms of helping the community, obviously having more forms of transportation can be helpful in a number of different ways. But as this organization was being formed, as this idea for this bike share program in Detroit and in Oakland County and surrounding areas, as that was all being devised, what was ultimately the goal or ultimately the space that you were hoping to fill in the transportation realm and what impact that would have on these communities?
Yeah, so I think that the primary objective was to become that first mile, last mile connector for folks. That's a really big part of our strategy here and what we think. So I'm sure you've heard the stories of people who didn't have an option to ride a bus somewhere, right? So they would maybe potentially take the bus to somewhere, but then would have to continue their journey on foot for sometimes miles. So bike share, one of the functions is we aim to be that first mile, last mile connector, right? So we don't necessarily think that, you're going to get on a MoGo in Ferndale and ride all the way up to Pontiac. But you can definitely get a MoGo to get to that other form of transportation. So that's a really big piece of it. And I think that for some folks, though, MoGo has really filled the gap of just transportation, period. We are not a recreation company. Let me say that again. You can use MoGo recreationally. People do all the time. But we really consider ourselves to be a transportation organization. So we really are concerned about getting people from point A to point B in a really healthy and active way.
You can find more information on MoGo Detroit either on sharedetroit.org by searching MoGo Detroit in their Find a Nonprofit section, or go straight to their website at mogodetroit.org, mogodetroit.org, and you can also find them at their physical locations all throughout Oakland County and around southeastern Michigan in places like Berkeley, Royal Oak Township, Oak Park, Hazel Park, and beyond, and plenty of locations in Detroit proper. More information, including all those MoGo stations in our local area, can be found on mogodetroit.org. Joining us on the program is Adriel Thornton, who is the Executive Director of MoGo Detroit. Tell us also about there's a newer program called MoGo Boost that's also available. Tell us about that.
Right. So I'm not sure how into the bike world you are, but the newest craze, which has been sweeping the bike world for the past couple of years, has been the electrification.
Yeah.
So MoGo Boost is really, it's a pedal assist e-bike. What that means is you still have to pedal, right? So it's not a moped, it's not a motorcycle or anything like that. You still have to pedal, but when you pedal, it gives you a boost. So it makes it a lot easier for people to pedal, and you can go much farther, faster on an e-bike. Our e-bikes are typically, throughout the course of a regular season, they're typically ridden 3 times more than our regular standard bikes, which are still great bikes. But you really can get on an e-bike, and one of the things I like about it is if you if you're a senior, right, or let's just say that you have bad knees or something like that, an e-bike really makes a big difference in how you can actually use a bike and the ease of using that bike. So we're really happy with the Boost, and you'll see quite a bit more of them added to our fleet relatively soon.
Again, more information can be found on mogodetroit.org. That's their website to find information on their local stations, as well as other ways that you can get involved with MoGo Detroit and help their mission right here in Detroit and the local area. We're joined by Adriel Thornton on today's edition of the Megacast, the Executive Director of MoGo Detroit. And in terms of support from the community, it's important for any nonprofit. In this case, how can people in the community support MoGo Detroit, either by, of course, donations or their time?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they can actually go to our website, mogodetroit.org, and there is a donation button there, so you can donate directly to us if you are passionate about active transportation or micromobility. Then we're the organization for you. Out in the field, really, if people just want to support us by, buying a pass or just getting one of our memberships, that's really helpful as well. So those are the 2 direct ways that people can really help us.
More information on all these programs and ways that you can get involved can be found on mogodetroit.org. That's mogodetroit.org, including, again, their Find a Bike map, where you'll find MoGo stations and bike-friendly routes all throughout the Oakland County area, mostly in southern Oakland County, as well as in Wayne County, and especially in the city of Detroit. Adriel Thornton is the Executive Director of MoGo Detroit and joins us today on the Megacast. Adriel, in the grand scheme of things, just how important are these sort of micro-transportation outlets across the board in our communities as people continue to struggle, especially in our current economic times, getting from, as you said, point A to point B? Just how big of a difference can something like MoGo Detroit really have in one community to the next?
I would like to think that it can have a really big difference, to make a really big difference. As you said, people are struggling here. The price of gas, the price of getting a vehicle and then maintaining that vehicle. So MoGo is, we are not here, we can't resolve every issue with transportation, but we certainly can help. If you have access to a MoGo station nearby you, that's a great way to conserve gas by just taking a MoGo instead of getting in your car, especially for those short trips. Again, it's station to station, so you would, wherever you're going, you probably would need to make sure that there's a MoGo station there. But it really can make a big difference. We have, again, with our Access Pass, we have some of those users who've written us and told us that this is their form of transportation. This is the only way that they can get around. And I'll tell you what illustrates that point is that ever since launch, I should say, we have not had a single day where we did not have rides. I'm talking about polar vortexes, the insane heat. big storms. Every single day we've had rides, and that illustrates to me the necessity that this is for some folks. And we also have another program. Again, this is about access. Our adaptive MoGo program is we actually have adaptive MoGo is designed for folks who, for cognitive or physical reasons, can't ride a regular two-wheel bike. So we've got recumbents, we've got a cart bike, where if you're wheelchair bound, you can slide right into it. And we have two locations that we rent those bikes from. One is at the Dot in Ferndale, and the other is on the Riverwalk, really kind of across from Wheelhouse. And that's something that we, when you talk about access and what the impact that this has on folks, this is an opportunity for, again, people who can't ride a normal bike to be able to still be able to be active and get out there and have that bike riding experience. Adaptive bikes are typically a lot more expensive than your standard bike, so a lot of people don't have access to them. We have people who are yearly pass holders for the adaptive program, who this is their exercise. This is their way to get out, and they wouldn't be able to do so if we didn't offer this program. So we're extremely proud of that as well.
MoGoDetroit.org is their website. You can also find more information on MoGo Detroit and over 340 other charities and nonprofits all across the Metro Detroit area by visiting sharedetroit.org. We're joined by Adriel Thornton, the Executive Director of MoGo Detroit, on today's edition of the Megacast. Adriel, another minute or so before we'll need to wrap things up today. Anything else that we haven't discussed about MoGo Detroit that would be important for our audience to know, or something to keep in mind or keep a lookout for in the near future?
Right. So there are a couple of things that will be coming up. We'll be having kind of a mini expansion coming up here in the next year. So hopefully we'll be able to put more stations closer to the people who are watching here. And I would just tell people that MoGo is a great, fun way to get to where you have to go. There's something really special about bike riding, where you can see things that you normally wouldn't in the car. And you're getting some exercise. And so we really encourage people to at least go out and give it a try.
Could be the difference between getting outside and getting a little bit of activity, or just simply getting from your home to your job each and every day. It makes a big impact. And we, of course, thank you and your team for everything you're doing to help bridge some of these gaps in our community. Adriel, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.